Welcome back to MythOwl. Tonight, we slowly step into the narrow mountain pass of Thermopylae. Let the world around you fade away. Let the noise of the day settle into silence. Imagine yourself standing on a high rocky ridge in ancient Greece. The air here is warm and still. It carries the scent of dry pine needles and salt from the sea below. The summer sun is dipping low, casting long golden shadows across the stone. We are traveling back in time, not to a place of noise and fury, but to a place of memory, to the year 480 BC. In this time, the world was vast and mysterious. Maps were drawn by travelers' tales, and the edges of the known world were blurred by mist. To the east, the great empire of Persia was moving. It moved like a slow, heavy tide. King Xerxes, a man who was treated like a god, had gathered an army so large it was said they drank rivers dry. Imagine looking out over the plains. You see a sea of colors moving in the distance. Gold and purple banners rippling in the wind. The dull shine of bronze, the soft white of linen robes. They were marching toward Greece. They were marching toward a small collection of city-states who were often divided, but now faced a common tide. And in the south, in the valley of Laconia, the city of Sparta lay quiet under the sun. Sparta was not a city of great walls or towering palaces. Its walls were its men. Here lived King Leonidas. He was a man of few words, a man carved from the same rugged stone as his homeland. He knew the tide was coming. He knew the odds were impossible. But in the quiet discipline of his mind, odds did not matter. Duty mattered. Stillness mattered. The Council of Elders had spoken. The oracle at Delphi, with her voice wrapped in smoke and riddles, had given a prophecy. Either a king of Sparta must die, or the city itself would fall. Leonidas accepted this. He did not rage against it. He simply prepared. He chose 300 men, just 300. But they were not chosen for their anger. They were chosen for their calm. They were chosen because they had sons to carry on their names. Picture them now, gathering in the early morning light. There is no shouting, only the rhythmic clinking of armor, the soft thud of leather sandals on the earth. They wear cloaks of deep crimson, not to frighten, but to show unity. They carry round shields, heavy bowls of bronze and wood, polished until they reflect the sky. They begin their march north. They are not marching to conquer. They are marching to hold the door. They walk through the valleys of the Peloponnese. They pass olive groves where the leaves shimmer silver in the breeze. They pass villagers who watch them go with silent reverence. The rhythm of their marching is steady. Left, right. Left, right. A heartbeat of bronze. As they move north, others join them. Men from Thespia, men from Thebes. They are a small coalition, flowing like a stream to meet the ocean. Their destination is a specific place, a place where the mountains come down to kiss the sea. A narrow strip of land, so narrow that only one wagon could pass at a time. The Greeks called it the Hot Gates, Thermopylae, named for the warm sulfur springs that bubbled from the rocks, steam rising gently into the cool morning air. It was a natural funnel, a place where numbers meant nothing, a place where the vast army of Xerxes would have to become a thin line. Imagine the Spartans arriving there. They do not rush to build fortifications. They simply repair an old, low wall of stones. They unpack their supplies. They sit by the fires. They oil their skin. They comb their long hair. This was their ritual before danger: to be clean, to be calm, to be beautiful in the face of the inevitable. Across the plain, the Persian army arrives. They are a spectacle of the world. Soldiers from Africa, India, Arabia, a tapestry of humanity. King Xerxes sets up his throne on a nearby hill. He waits. He expects the Greeks to run when they see his numbers. He waits for 4 days. 4 days of silence. 4 days of the sun rising and the sun setting. The only sound is the wind whistling through the pass and the waves of the Malian Gulf lapping against the shore. Xerxes sends a scout on horseback. The scout rides close to the wall. He sees the Spartans exercising. He sees them combing their hair. He returns to the king and says, "They are preparing to die." But they were not just preparing to die. They were preparing to live forever in memory. Finally, the waiting ends. The king of Persia sends a messenger. The message is simple: hand over your weapons. Leonidas, standing comfortably, leaning on his shield, looks at the messenger. He does not shout. He speaks softly, but his voice carries like a bell in the mountain air. Come and take them. The words hang in the space between the armies. They are not spoken with rage. They are spoken with the heavy calm of a stone dropping into a deep well. Come and take them. The messenger stares for a moment. He is looking for fear in the king's eyes. He finds only a quiet, gray stillness. He turns his horse around. The animal's hooves crunch softly on the dry gravel. He rides back toward the sea of Persian tents. And now, the waiting returns. But it is a different kind of waiting. Before, it was the waiting of the unknown. Now, it is the waiting of the inevitable. Imagine the Spartans standing there. They watch the messenger disappear into the distance. The wind picks up. It whistles through the plumes of their helmets. It rattles the dry scrub brush on the cliffside. Leonidas turns to his men. He gives a small nod. There is no need for speeches. They have trained for this since they were children. They know the rhythm of the shield wall better than the beat of their own hearts. Slowly, with a sound like a heavy door closing, they lift their shields. The bronze circles are heavy. They are warm from the sun. They lock them together, rim to rim, overlapping like the scales of a great golden dragon. Behind the wall, the men settle their feet. They dig their sandals into the loose earth. They find their grip, shoulder to shoulder. The man on the left protects the man on the right. A single, unbroken chain. Close your eyes and listen to the sounds of the line. The creak of leather straps tightening. The rustle of the crimson cloaks. The deep, steady breathing of 300 men. In and out. In and out. Across the plain, the Persian army begins to shift. It is not a sudden charge. It is a slow awakening, like a sleeping giant stirring. The first wave is sent forward. They are the Medes and the Scythians, brave men from far-off lands. They move forward in a loose crowd. They are not marching in a tight block like the Greeks. They flow like water. They carry wicker shields and short spears. They wear trousers embroidered with bright colors. To them, the Spartans look like statues, statues of bronze and red, blocking the only road home. The distance between them closes. 500 yards, 300 yards. The sound of their approach grows. It is a low rumble, thousands of feet striking the earth. The dust begins to rise, a soft golden haze that blurs the sun. The Spartans do not move. They do not cheer. They simply watch through the narrow slits of their helmets. Their world has become very small. Just the bronze of the shield in front of them, the breathing of the brother beside them, and the strip of blue sky above. The heat of the day is building. Sweat trickles down their backs, but they do not wipe it away. They are anchored. They are the cliff, and the ocean is coming to meet them. When the collision finally happens, it is not the sharp clang of metal you might expect. It is a dull, heavy thud, the sound of weight meeting resistance. The Persian wave crashes against the Spartan wall, and the wall holds. It holds firm. The Spartans push. They push with their legs, with their shoulders, with their whole history. It is a slow, rhythmic grinding, like tectonic plates shifting deep underground. There is no room for individual heroics here. There is only the group, the phalanx. It breathes as one. When the pressure becomes too great, they take a step back. They let the enemy stumble forward, and then they step forward again. Push, recover, breathe. Time seems to warp in the narrow pass. Minutes stretch into hours. The sun crawls across the sky, indifferent to the struggle below. Dust coats everything. It settles on the bronze shields, turning them a dull, matte gold. It settles in the creases of the men's eyes. The Persians cannot use their numbers here. The pass is too narrow. Only the men at the very front can fight. The thousands behind them can only push. They are trapped by their own size, pressed against the unmoving wall of Sparta. Leonidas stands in the first rank. He is not commanding from the rear. He is part of the wall. His shield is locked with the man next to him. His spear moves with the same rhythm. He is a king, yes, but here he is simply a soldier, fighting for the patch of earth beneath his feet. The afternoon wears on. The light begins to change. The harsh white sun of midday softens into a warm amber. The shadows of the cliffs begin to stretch across the battlefield, providing small moments of shade, cooling the heated bronze of the shields, cooling the flushed skin of the warriors. The first wave of attackers falls back. They are exhausted. They are confused. They have thrown themselves against the rock, and the rock has not moved. The Spartans hold their line. They do not chase the retreating enemy. Discipline is their greatest weapon. To break the line is to die. So they stand, and they wait. There is a lull in the noise. The dust settles slightly. Water skins are passed down the line. Hands reach out to grasp them. The water is warm, but it tastes like life itself. They speak in low murmurs, checking on one another. Are you hurt? I am fine. Hold the line. From his high throne on the hill, Xerxes watches. He frowns. He had expected the Greeks to run at the first sight of his army, or to be swept away like dry leaves. But they are still there, a stubborn knot of red in the throat of the valley. He signals for the next wave. He does not want to send them yet, but he must. He calls for his elite, the best of the best, the 10,000, the warriors known as the Immortals. They are called immortals not because they cannot die, but because their number never changes. If one falls, another steps instantly into his place. They are a river that never runs dry. They approach in silence. This is what makes them terrifying. The other armies shouted and banged their shields. The immortals move like a shadow. They wear masks of silver cloth. They carry spears tipped with gold. They flow down the pass toward the Spartans, silent, efficient, deadly. The Spartans see them coming. They recognize the change in the air. The mood shifts from endurance to focus. Leonidas tightens his grip on his shield. He knows this will be the true test. The sun is getting lower now, painting the sky in shades of violet and bruised orange. The immortals crash into the Spartans. This time, the weight is heavier. The skill is greater. The pressure on the shields is immense. The wood groans under the strain. Muscles burn with the effort of holding the line. But the Spartans have something the immortals do not. They are fighting for their home. They are fighting for the laws they swore to obey. They are fighting for the man standing next to them. The struggle continues into the twilight. The clash of metal becomes a rhythmic song in the darkening pass. Sparks fly where bronze meets iron, like fireflies dancing in the gloom. The Spartans used the narrow space perfectly. They turned the pass into a bottleneck. The immortals are crowded. Their long robes get in the way. Their shorter spears cannot reach the Greeks behind the wall of shields. Gradually, the light fails completely. The moon begins to rise over the sea, a pale silver coin in the black sky. It casts a ghostly light over the water and over the tired men. The fighting slows, and then it stops. The immortals pull back into the darkness. They fade away as silently as they came, leaving the Spartans alone once more. The first day is over. A deep exhale seems to travel through the Spartan line. They lower their shields. The heavy bronze rims thud softly into the dirt. They roll their shoulders. They wipe the grime from their faces. They have held. Against the world, they have held. They begin to build small fires behind the wall. The flicker of orange light pushes back the night. The smell of wood smoke mixes with the salt air. Imagine sitting by one of those fires. The adrenaline is fading now, leaving a heavy, warm tiredness in the limbs. The men sit on the ground. They unbuckle their greaves, rubbing their shins. They share hard bread and dried figs. They do not talk of the battle. They talk of small things, of the olive harvest back home, of their hunting dogs, of the way the moon looks on the Eurotas River. They are grounding themselves, reminding themselves of the world that still exists, outside of this narrow pass of death. Leonidas walks among them. He does not sit. He walks slowly, looking at each face. He offers a hand here, a nod there. He is checking the spirit of his army, and he finds it strong, quiet, but strong, like the roots of an old tree. Above them, the stars come out, thousands of them, brilliant and cold. They look down on the pass just as they have for 1,000,000 years. They looked down when this land was under the sea. They will look down long after these men are gone. There is a comfort in that, in the vast, uncaring beauty of the stars. It makes the battle feel small. It makes the fear feel manageable. We are but a moment, a breath in the wind. The camp settles down. Sentries are posted. The rest of the men wrap themselves in their crimson cloaks. They lie down on the hard earth, using their shields as pillows. Sleep comes quickly to the weary. It is a dreamless, heavy sleep, the sleep of those who have done their duty. The sounds of the Persian camp across the plain drift over on the wind. The neighing of horses, the murmur of a foreign language. But it feels distant, separate. Here, behind the wall, there is only the crackle of the dying fires and the rhythmic wash of the waves against the shore. Hush, hush, hush. The night deepens, the air grows cool. The heat of the day radiates up from the stones, keeping the sleepers warm. They rest, gathering their strength, for they know the sun will rise again, and with it, the tide will return. The second day comes. It dawns with a gray mist that clings to the cliffs. The men wake in the dew-soaked morning. They are stiff. Their bodies ache. But they stand. They form the line again. They lock the shields again. The second day is much like the first. Xerxes throws wave after wave against them. He is angry now. His godlike patience is fraying. But the result is the same. The narrow pass becomes a grinder. The Spartans, moving like a single machine, push the invaders back, again and again. It seems impossible. How can so few hold back so many? It is because they are not fighting for a king who sits on a throne. They are fighting for the man on their left and the man on their right. This bond is stronger than any fear. The sun sets on the second day. The Spartans are still standing. They are battered, their shields are dented, their spears are splintered, but the wall is unbroken. However, while the Spartans rest that night, a shadow moves through the mountains above. The victory of the day is about to be stolen by the darkness of the night. There was a path, a secret shepherd's track, hidden high in the mountains, winding through the oak trees and the mist. Only the locals knew of it. And under the cover of darkness, a local man named Ephialtes, driven by the promise of Persian gold, goes to the king's tent. He tells Xerxes of the path. He tells him he can lead the army around the mountain. He can bring them down behind the Spartans. It is the turning point, not of swords, but of direction. The Persian army begins to move at night, torches flickering through the trees high above, like a line of fireflies moving through the dark. A beautiful, terrible sight. Leonidas is awake. He is watching the mountain. He sees the torches. He hears the news from the scouts running down the hill. He knows. The circle is closing. The sunrise will bring the end. He does not panic. He does not wake his men with a shout. He wakes them with a touch. He calls a council by the dying fire. The other Greek commanders are there. Their faces are pale in the moonlight. They know what the torches mean. They are surrounded. Leonidas speaks. His voice is as steady as the tide. He tells the allies, the Thespians, the Thebans, the others, to leave. "Go," he says. "There is no need for you to die here. Save yourselves for the battles to come. Save yourselves to tell the story." There is silence. Some argue, some weep, but eventually, most of them gather their gear. They look at the Spartans one last time, with a mixture of shame and reverence, and they retreat down the coast road, disappearing into the night. But the 300 remain. They do not pack. They do not leave. And with them, 700 brave Thespians refuse to go. They choose to stay, to stand with the lions. The camp is quieter now, smaller. The men who remain look at each other. There is a strange lightness in the air. The burden of survival is gone. The burden of winning is gone. There is only the duty and the end. Leonidas looks at his men. He smiles. A rare, warm smile that wrinkles the corners of his eyes. He tells them to eat a good breakfast. "For tonight," he says calmly, "we dine in the halls of our ancestors." The third day arrives, but it does not arrive with the crash of battle. It arrives with a soft, golden hush. The sun creeps over the horizon, turning the sea into a sheet of hammered copper. The Spartans stand in the light. They are cleaning their armor one last time. They are oiling their skin. They are combing their long hair. It is a strange sight to any outsider. Men about to die, preparing as if for a celebration. But to them, this is a celebration. It is the celebration of a promise kept. They are not afraid. Fear belongs to those who have something to lose. These men have already given everything away in their hearts. They are light. They are free. Leonidas watches them. He sees the calmness in their hands. He sees the clear, bright look in their eyes. He knows that today, they will not fight for victory. They will fight for memory. They will fight to carve a scar into the mind of the enemy, a scar that will never heal. From the rear, the sound of marching feet begins to drift down the mountain. The immortals have cleared the path. They are descending. The trap is officially closed. The Spartans are an island now, surrounded by a rising tide. To the front, the main Persian army begins to form up. They are cautious now. The arrogance of the first day is gone. They look at the small wall of stones with respect, and perhaps with a little bit of fear. They know that to cross that wall, they must pay a price they do not want to pay. The air is thick and still. The cicadas begin to sing in the olive trees, a rhythmic, buzzing song that rises with the heat. It is the sound of a Greek summer, a sound these men have known since they were babies in their cradles. It comforts them. It tells them they are home. And here, in this narrow place, they will stay home forever. Leonidas puts on his helmet. The horsehair plume is red, bright as blood against the blue sky. He picks up his shield. It feels lighter today. Or perhaps he is just stronger. He turns to the Thespians, the brave allies who chose to stay. He nods to their commander, a silent acknowledgement of their sacrifice. They are not Spartans. They were not bred for this. And yet, they stand, shoulder to shoulder with the best of Greece. The time for waiting is over. Leonidas does not wait behind the wall today. He knows the end must be met in the open. He signals with his spear, and the 300, along with their brave brothers, step out. They leave the safety of the narrow neck. They march out into the wider part of the pass, into the full glare of the sun. They are expanding, taking up space, challenging the world one last time. They form a circle, shields facing outward, a porcupine of bronze and iron. They do not shout. They do not bang their shields. They simply stand and let the silence speak for them. We are here. We are still here.
The battle begins, but let us view it from a distance. Let us float above the dust and the noise. From high above, it looks like a dance, a slow, tragic dance of colors. The red of the Spartans, the gold and white of the Persians, mixing and swirling together in the dust. The sun is high now. It beats down on the bronze helmets, turning the pass into a furnace. The air ripples with heat, distorting the horizon like a mirage. The Spartans fight with a fury that is cold and precise. They are efficient. Every thrust of a spear is calculated. Every movement of a shield is measured. They are not wasting energy on anger. They are spending their lives like gold coins, one by one, buying time, buying glory. They move with the muscle memory of 1,000 mornings of training. Their movements are identical, a single organism made of 300 parts. Their spears begin to break. The wooden shafts shatter against the sheer number of the enemy, splintering into useless pieces of ash wood. The sound of snapping wood echoes off the cliffs, but they do not stop. They draw their short swords, the Xiphos, leaf-shaped blades that flash in the sun. The fighting becomes closer, more intimate, face to face, breath to breath, eye to eye. They look into the souls of the men they are fighting. They are pressed from all sides. The immortals push from the back. The main army pushes from the front. The circle tightens, but it does not break. It spins. It adapts. It breathes. The Spartans move like water around a stone, fluid, unstoppable. When one man stumbles, another is there to hold him up. When a shield is lost, another takes its place. The bronze wall repairs itself instantly. You can see the exhaustion in their limbs, the muscles trembling under the weight of the armor, the way their shoulders slump for a fraction of a second before snapping back into place, the way they wipe salt sweat from their eyes to see the next strike. But their discipline holds them together, like invisible iron bands. They are brothers, and brothers do not let each other fall. They do not let each other feel fear. And then, in the center of the swirl, a moment of stillness. Leonidas falls. He does not fall with a scream. He falls like a great tower collapsing, silently, inevitably. He hits the ground, and the earth seems to shudder beneath the weight of his armor. The dust rises around him like a shroud, settling gently on his red cloak. For a heartbeat, the battlefield holds its breath. The wind seems to stop. The birds seem to freeze in the sky. The world pauses to mark the passing of a giant. The king is down. The lion is dead. The Persians surge forward. They see the fallen crest. They want the body. They want the trophy. They want to claim the head of the man who defied a god. They rush forward like wolves. But the Spartans, they roar. It is the first time they have truly shouted. A deep, guttural sound of grief and protection. It comes from the belly, from the soul. It is the sound of a heart breaking and hardening at the same time. They do not scatter. They do not run. They surge over the body. They create a roof of shields above their fallen king, a bronze canopy to shade him from the sun. The fighting over the body is the fiercest of the day. It is a storm centered on one point. 4 times the Persians push forward.
4 times, the Spartans pushed them back. They used their shields like battering rams. They used their hands. They used their teeth. They are not fighting for a king now. They are fighting for a brother. They will not let him be taken. They will not let him be touched by enemy hands. The sun beats down on the struggle. The heat is intense. The air is thick with dust and iron. But the Spartans do not feel it. They only feel the weight of the duty. They drag the body back, step by step, inch by inch. The armor is heavy, but their arms are gentle, leaving a trail of broken enemies behind them. They retreat toward a small hillock, a rising mound of earth near the roadside, where the ground is higher, where they can see the sky. This will be their final stand, the altar upon which they will lay their lives. They climb the small slope, carrying their king. They lay him down gently on the grass. Even in the chaos, there is tenderness, a moment of respect for the man who led them into the fire. They arrange his cloak to cover him. They place his battered shield by his side. They form a circle around him. They are few now, very few. The circle is small enough to fit in a single room. They are bleeding. They are exhausted. Their chests heave with the effort of breathing. The dust coats their throats. But they are still standing. They look at each other through the grime and the sweat, and they nod. We are still here. We are still together. The Persians stop attacking. They pull back. They have learned that to come close to a Spartan, even a dying Spartan, is to touch fire. They do not want to touch the fire anymore. They surround the hill, thousands of them, a ring of steel and eyes, watching the wounded lions on the hill, waiting for the end, wondering why these men do not beg, wondering why they do not kneel. The final moment arrives. It does not come with swords. It does not come with the crash of shields. It comes from the sky. Xerxes orders his archers forward, thousands of them. They line up in rows. They notch their arrows. The sound of the bowstrings drawing taut is like the intake of a giant breath, a creaking of wood and tension, a sound of impending rain. The Spartans look up. They see the sun, bright and warm. The rays filter through the dust, creating beams of holy light. They feel the breeze on their faces. It cools the sweat on their brows. It dries the tears they did not shed. They look at the sea one last time, sparkling and blue, beautiful, indifferent. It calls to them, reminding them of home. The command is given. The arrows are loosed. A dark cloud rises from the Persian lines. It climbs higher and higher, blocking out the sun, casting a sudden cool shadow over the hill. The light dims. The world goes gray. It is a strange, artificial twilight, a blanket being drawn over a sleeping child. In the shade, the Spartan had said, and now they are in the shade. The arrows fall, a rain of iron and wood. There is a sound like heavy hail on a tin roof. Thrum, thrum, thrum. It is a rhythmic, deadly drumming, the sound of the end. It is not a battle anymore. It is a burial. And then silence. A deep, profound silence. The dust begins to settle. The shouting has stopped. The clash of metal has stopped. The hill is covered in arrows. They stick out of the ground like strange, deadly reeds. And beneath them, the 300 lie still. The Thespians lie still. The king lies still. They lie in the formation they kept in life, shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield. Even in death, they have not broken the line. They are together, resting. The struggle is over. The pain is gone. The duty is done. They have become the earth they defended. The Persian army is quiet. There is no cheering, no victory cry. They walk past the hill with their heads down. They know they have won the ground, but they have lost something else. They have lost the belief that they are invincible. They have seen men who preferred death to submission, and it has shaken them to their core. Xerxes walks to the hill. He looks down at the body of Leonidas. He looks at the faces of the men who defied him. He feels a chill in the heat of the day. He knows, deep in his heart, that this is the beginning of the end for him. He has broken the gate, but the spirit of Greece has escaped him. It has flown up the mountains. It has flown to the cities. It is already sharpening the swords of the future. The wind picks up. It blows through the pass, carrying the souls of the brave out to sea. It whispers through the grass. It sings through the rocks, telling the story to the mountains. The mountains listen. They absorb the story into their stone, so they can hold it forever. The pass of Thermopylae is empty now. The armies move on. The noise fades into the distance, leaving only the birds and the bees and the warm, bubbling springs. The hot gates are open, but the spirit that held them is closed inside forever. Time begins to move faster now. Years pass. Centuries pass. The wooden arrows rot away. The bronze shields turn green and crumble to dust. The bones return to the earth. The landscape changes. Rivers move. The sea retreats, leaving the hill stranded in a field of flowers. But the memory remains. It does not fade. It grows. It becomes a pillar of light in the history of the world, a definition of courage, a definition of sacrifice. It is whispered by poets. It is studied by generals. It is dreamed by children. A poet named Simonides walks by the hill. He sees the grave, and he writes the words that will echo forever. Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie. Simple words, quiet words, but they carry the weight of the mountain. When we think of them, we do not think of the blood. We do not think of the dust. We think of the stillness. We think of the brotherhood. We think of the shade. We think of the red cloaks standing against the gray tide. We think of the refusal to kneel. And now, let the image of the battle fade completely. Let the sounds of war disappear. Imagine the hill as it is today. Quiet, peaceful, covered in wildflowers. Poppies red as the Spartan cloaks, swaying gently in the breeze.
There is no pain here, only peace. The earth has healed the scars of the past. The silence is not empty, it is full of rest. Imagine yourself lying in that grass. The ground is warm and supportive beneath you. The scent of the wildflowers surrounds you, sweet and dusty. The sky above is a deep, endless blue. Clouds drift by, slow, white, fluffy, drifting like thoughts that no longer matter. The sun sets over the modern world, casting the same golden light that Leonidas saw. The air cools. The twilight comes, wrapping the world in a soft velvet blanket. The stars come out, one by one. The same stars, watching, waiting, guarding the sleep of the brave. They look down on you now, sending their ancient, quiet light. A reminder that you are part of something vast, something eternal. You are safe here, held by the earth, watched by the sky. Let your breathing match the rhythm of the sea. In and out, slow and steady. The story is done. The warriors are at rest. And now, you can rest too. History fades into legend. Legend fades into memory. And memory gently becomes sleep. Thank you for being here with MythOwl. Rest peacefully until our next story.